Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to our November 14th combined Newton County School Board meeting. At this time, I'd like to bow your head for a moment of reflection, please. Thank you. May the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Fear, I understand we have some special recognition.
Yes, Mr. Turner, we do. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, we have several students to recognize for their recent outstanding accomplishments. Students, when I call your name, please come forward. Gordon Everett. Gordon is an 8th grade student at Newton County Theme School at Fickwit, and he was recently selected to serve on the Georgia School Superintendent Student Advisory Council. Over 1,000 students from around the state applied to serve on the prestigious council, and Gordon was only one of 142 that were selected. As a member of the Student Advisory Council, Gordon will meet with Superintendent Richard Woods throughout the school year to discuss the impact of state policies in the classroom. Members of the Student Advisory Council will also discuss other issues related to education, serve as the superintendent's ambassadors to their respective schools, and participate in service projects for the benefit of the school and students. Congratulations, Gordon. Next, we'll honor several Newton College and Career Academy STEM Institute students who together won the Ford Next Generation Learning STEM Challenge. 5 students from NCCA STEM Institute submitted a video to enter the Ford Next Generation Learning STEM Challenge in January. Out of several hundred submissions from across the nation, they were selected as one of 6 grant recipients. As winners, they received a check for $5,000 to go toward their project. Their winning submission is called the STEM Bus, which is designed to create a mobile job/career center and STEM lab that will travel around Newton County. The STEM Bus will develop awareness of the various STEM-related jobs available in Newton County, as well as provide learning opportunities about STEM education for school-aged residents. After several years of implementation of the STEM Bus, the goal is to create a pipeline of career-ready workers for the local business and industry right here in Newton County. Students, when I call your name, please come forward to accept your certificate. Alexander Lowe. Alexander is a 12th grade student at Newton High School and NCCA STEM Institute. Seth Besaw. Okay. Seth is a senior. Thank you, Alexander. Seth is a senior at Eastside High School and the NCCA STEM Institute. Brooks Benton. Brooks is a 12th grade student at Eastside High School and NCCA's STEM Institute. Laurel Freeman. Laurel is a senior at Newton High School and NCCA STEM Institute. Ivy McKenzie. Ivy is a senior at Newton High School and the NCCA STEM Institute as well. I'd like to recognize these young people with a round of applause. Congratulations to each of you on a job well done. Our final group of students to be recognized this evening will soon be representing the Newton County school system on a national and, in fact, international level when they have been selected to participate in Macy's 2017 Thanksgiving Day Parade in New York City. The students tried out and were ultimately selected to perform in the Macy's Great American Marching Band for this year, the 91st annual Macy's Day Thanksgiving Parade. This year's band is under the direction of Auburn University's Dr. Richard Good and assisted by many talented music educators from across the country. Only 185 musicians and 40 flags and dancers were selected from the nationwide pool of applicants, and 4 of those students are from the Newton County school system. Students, when I call your name, please come forward to accept your certificate. Brittany Allen. Brittany is a senior at Alcovey High School and the NCCA STEM Institute, and she is also in the Alcovey High School Color Guard. She was one of only 40 flag performers selected from the national tryouts to perform in the Macy's Great American Marching Band. Joseph Bickle. Joseph is a sophomore at Eastside High School, and he plays a baritone in the Pride of Eastside Marching Band. He was one of only 185 musicians selected to perform, again, in the Macy's Great American Marching Band. Jonathan Sugg. Jonathan is a junior at Eastside High School, and he plays the mellophone for the Pride of Eastside. He, too, was one of only 185 musicians selected to perform in the Macy's Great American Marching Band. Austin Huffman. Austin is a senior at Eastside High School and the NCCA STEM Institute, and he plays the clarinet for the Pride of Eastside. This is not the first major parade Austin will have participated in this year. If you will recall, he was also selected to march in the 2017 Rose Bowl Parade in January, and he, Jonathan, and Joseph all marched with the Pride of Eastside in last year's 2016 Hollywood Christmas Parade. Congratulations to each of you on a job well done. If you just recognize them. These 4 students will be marching and performing in front of an estimated 3 million spectators who line the parade route, while 50 million more viewers watch the parade as it is televised. We look forward to watching you represent Newton County Schools in 2017 at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. We're really very proud of you. Thank you very much for your hard work on those instruments and the flag. It's awesome. This is our favorite part of the work that we do, being able to recognize the hard work of our students. So thank you so much for being here, parents, and thank you for bringing them to us tonight so we can recognize them. Mr. Turner, this concludes the recognition part of our agenda this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Ferry. At this time, I would like for the parents and relatives of these students to please stand, please. Okay, on behalf of superintendent and the board members, we would like to thank you for your support in providing the necessary tools to make these students successful in life. And we'd like to give you all a round of applause. Thank you again very much. And at this part of our meeting, we would like for you all to stay, but this will be a good opportunity to, if you have something else planned, to leave if you'd like to.
Before you go, I do want to recognize that your school's principals are here in the back of the room. You've got Dr. Sandy Owens, principal of Alcovey High School, Mr. Jeff Chur, principal of Eastside High School, and Dr. Shannon Buff, principal of Newton High School. So thank you all for your hard work.
Okay, and I'd like to thank the principals as well. That just goes to show that they're very supportive of you all. So we'd like to give you all another round of applause. Yeah, let's get up and go. Understand we have no public participation, correct? Okay.
While everyone is transitioning, and parents and families are celebrating the hard work and great things that their students are doing, just want to acknowledge that there are a few people in the room. I think folks from Leadership Newton are here this evening. If you would just stand so we can acknowledge that you are here, we appreciate it. Thank you very much for being here. We also have Mr. Ted Cummings here. He is a board member of Georgia Piedmont Technical College and is also a parent with students at Alcovey High School and is a great supporter of our school system. And he's here just to observe our board meeting and to enjoy our hard work and efforts.
Thank you. Glad you all were able to attend. At this time, I need a motion to approve the agenda, please.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Henderson. Do I have a Baker? Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Johnson. Any concerns or discussion?
I would like to amend the agenda
Okay.
to amend the item A.
Okay.
To add chart G, or move it to the,
It would be item I.
okay, to change it from item A to item I. So move it to the bottom of the,
Abigail will have to
With-
restate her motion because there's a current motion on the floor.
Right.
Okay.
And so we need to allow for it to die first. So we need to take a vote with the current motion,
Right,
allow it
okay.
to die, and then she can make a motion to adjourn.
So we have a motion, we have a second. So all in favor, aye? All opposed?
Aye.
No.
I would like to amend the agenda to move item A, the budget amendment, to the bottom of the list, so it would make it item I.
Okay, I have a motion to amend the budget from item A, moving it down to I. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Do I have a motion?
That's her motion.
That's my
I have a
motion.
second.
I'm second.
It's Ms. Baker. Any further discussion? Having none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carries. I need a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Baker. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Johnson. Any discussions or concerns? Having none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carries.
I just want, can I go for clarity on something real quick?
Sure.
Okay. We're moving the item A to the bottom of the agenda. Does that mean when item A goes away that now we have a new set of letters we got to deal with all night, or are we just adding it as item J?
We just
Striking
move-
A and adding J?
You can add it as J.
I don't know. I'm just making sure we're
Right.
we're clear on it.
You can just add it to J.
Okay.
Because
It's
item,
going to the bottom of the,
yeah, item A,
yeah, it's
item
going to the
A
bottom.
is gone.
All right.
Okay. Okay, superintendent's report.
Under new business.
Superintendent's report, operations report, just a few items to bring to your attention. The SPLOST 4 distribution for September was $997,000, which is an increase of $70,000 from the previous month. The average for the first 32 months of SPLOST 4 collections is $921,000. The monthly average for SPLOST 3 was $881,000. The title ad valorem tax collection for September was $47,000. The rate of expenditures is within budget and less than last year, with 32.92% of funds expended compared to 33.55% in fiscal year 2017. Facilities. 16 schools have now been awarded the Energy Star certification. As you may recall, in September, Live Oak Elementary, South Salem Elementary, West Newton Elementary, Livingston Elementary, Liberty Middle School, and Alcovey High School were certified. In October, 9 more schools have received this certification, including East Newton Elementary, Fairview Elementary, Flint Hill Elementary, Hurd Mixon Elementary, Middle Ridge Elementary, Rocky Plains Elementary, Cousins Middle, Indian Creek Middle, and Veterans Memorial Middle School. Again, just as a refresher, Energy Star is a voluntary U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, program. Energy Star certified buildings save energy, save money, and help protect the environment by generating fewer greenhouse gas emissions than typical buildings. To be certified, a building must meet strict energy performance standards set by the EPA. And again, we just want to congratulate those schools for making that mark. On page 2, under pupil transportation, in October, our school buses traveled a total of 283,000 miles, and the average cost for diesel fuel was about $2.37. One item to bring to your attention in school nutrition, and that's item number 4. National School Lunch Week was celebrated October 16th through the 20th with a variety of activities, including prizes as well as Try It Tuesday, which included a new menu item. One of the fun aspects of National School Lunch Week occurs when our celebrity servers join us in our cafeterias. This is a chance for administrators and teachers to have an opportunity to serve meals to the students. And that concludes the operations report, unless there are any questions. And again, we're taking action on all reports this evening.
Any questions or concerns? I need a motion to approve item A on the operation.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bailey, I have a second by Ms. Baker. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carries. Item B.
Item B, the CIT report. Just a few things to share with you. In the CIT report on page 2, item 3, Newton County Theme School, Oak Hill Elementary School, and South Salem Elementary School's 4th grade students they are participating in a 1-year pilot using Chromebooks. Over the summer, select teachers created digital curriculum aligned with the Georgia standards and our pacing maps with the guidance from the instructional technology team. Each 4th grade student in those schools have been given a Chromebook. During class, students access digital content assigned by their teachers and respond via video, discussion, text, picture, or whatever way their teacher deems appropriate. Using ClassFlow, Discovery Education, Canvas, and Google Apps for Education, students are communicating, collaborating, and learning in a much larger capacity. So far, the pilot is going smoothly, and teachers and students are enjoying the experience. Item 4. Hurd Mixon and Live Oak Elementary students had the opportunity to participate in coding field trips at the Perimeter Microsoft store during the month of October. During these field trips to the Microsoft showroom, students learned to code, use computational thinking, collaborate with their peers, and test innovation products created by Microsoft for students. On page 3, item 7, the Newton County Book Bus was on the square for Scare on the Square. We handed out bookmarks with reading strategies printed on the back to support reading at home. Item 11, a new college and career readiness platform was released in October to all school counselors across the state. Georgia DOE has created a platform to house all career readiness lessons, surveys, and graduation plans. Students in grades K through 12 have access to this through the Counselor Companion beginning on November 1st. And that concludes the CIT report, unless there are any specific questions. And again, this item is up for action this evening.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve item B?
We got to move it for
I need a
discussion.
motion to approve item B.
So move.
Motion by Ms. Baker, second by Mr. Johnson. Okay, questions? Go ahead.
Dr. Lloyd, just a question,
Yes, sir.
a comment, and a request, please.
Yes, sir.
Would you read item 6?
I will. Item 6, this is page 2. The Newton Farm Bureau held a training for elementary teachers. During this training, teachers learned about the importance that agriculture holds in our county, the impact that agriculture has on each of our lives, and how to incorporate this with our science standards. The presenter incorporated reading, math, and economics as agricultural concepts were discussed. Attendees left with children's literature, resources, plant kits, tools, and their own garden box.
Thank you, sir.
Most welcome.
And may I add why I did that? Is because it's agriculture, and we take it and all its assets for granted. And as you know, that agriculture is the leading industry in the state of Georgia. And every opportunity I get, I try to bring that subject to the attention of the public because it's so important.
Well, I'm glad you did bring that forth because as I was reading it, talking about agriculture and the things that we're doing here in our county with our school system of agriculture, we're very strong. Just as we saw, we had students who were performing in the music field, music industry. We have people doing great things with STEM and agriculture. We're just as strong there. So again, I'm glad that you brought that point out.
Appreciate it. Thank you much.
Okay, any further discussions? Having none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, I have two more things for you. The November 7th enrollment report shows us sitting at 19,698 students. This same time last year was 19,680, so that's an increase of 18 students over last year. And we have a presentation for you by Dr. Jordan.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to provide a student performance update as measured by the Georgia Milestones and Iowa assessments. The first administration of the Georgia Milestones assessments took place in the spring of 2015. Unlike other nationally normed assessments, the Georgia Milestones assessments are still very new. Since their inception, course content standards and test blueprints have been adjusted. Therefore, when comparing and analyzing data from year to year, administrators and teachers must remember that slight variations in performance results may be attributed to factors beyond their control. Georgia Milestones assessments provide a measure of student achievement of the state content standards across the full achievement continuum. In the area of English language arts, students performing at the developing, proficient, and distinguished levels increased in 2017. In math, some grade levels posted increases in the percentage of students performing at the developing, proficient, and distinguished levels. During the spring 2017 administration, the new geometry assessment was administered to high school students for the first time. As of spring 2017, students in grades 3, 4, 6, and 7 no longer participate in the Georgia Milestones science assessments. Of those that do participate, student scoring in the developing, proficient, and distinguished levels increased in most grade levels. As of spring 2017, students in grades 3, 4, 6, and 7 no longer participate in the Georgia Milestones social studies assessments. Of those that do participate, student scoring in the developing, proficient, and distinguished levels either increased or remained relatively the same in most grade levels. The Iowa. Georgia Milestones assessments provide us with summative data only after instruction has taken place. Teachers, students, and parents receive score reports at the beginning of the following school year. Due to the turnaround time of such reports, we are unable to use the data to identify opportunities for growth for each student. Therefore, we use the Iowa assessments to measure growth and pinpoint areas in need of improvement. Iowa assessments provide us with the growth calculations for each student that are monitored within the same academic year. When a student has grown as much as expected, the student is keeping pace with other students in the nation who started at the same achievement level. Here we have the 2016-17 growth reports for Grade 1 ELA and math content areas. 78% of students met or exceeded estimated growth in ELA, and 77% met or exceeded in math. In Grade 2, 89% met or exceeded estimated growth in ELA and 90% in math. In Grade 3, 89% met or exceeded estimated growth in ELA and 92% in math. In Grade 4, 83% met or exceeded estimated growth in ELA and 82% in math. In Grade 5, 87% met or exceeded estimated growth in ELA and 86% in math. In Grade 6, 77% met or exceeded estimated growth in ELA and 76% in math. In Grade 7, 77% met or exceeded estimated growth in ELA and 72% in math. In Grade 8, 88% met or exceeded estimated growth in ELA and 81% in math. We also administer the CogAT, which is the Cognitive Abilities Test, to students in kindergarten and Grade 2. CogAT appraises the cognitive development of students from kindergarten through Grade 12. The test measures students' learned reasoning abilities in 3 cognitive domains most closely related to success in school: verbal, quantitative, and nonverbal reasoning domains. After reports are generated, teachers and parents can use the online interactive ability profile interpretation system to gather suggestions for adapting instruction based on the student's individual cognitive strengths and weaknesses. The most recent CogAT administration took place during the month of September. Students in kindergarten and Grade 2 participated in this administration. An analysis of the kindergarten data shows that our students begin kindergarten with cognitive processing skills below the national average, which is the 50th age percentile rank. According to research, children growing up in poverty experience delays in school readiness. There are substantial achievement gaps between middle-income and low-income children at school entry that widen over time and contribute to serious disparities in learning difficulties, educational attainment, and long-term employment potential. Such disparities can be reduced by various types of pre-K programs. After receiving the score reports, teachers, parents, and students may visit the CogAT site and enter the ability profile information into the interpretation system. The system will generate a detailed explanation of the profile and provide information related to learner characteristics and instructional suggestions. This is an example of the profile report provided by the interpretation system. We also administered the CogAT to students in Grade 2. Their cognitive performance is closer to the 50th age percentile rank. Based on the CogAT data we have gathered thus far, we understand that our work must not only focus on students mastering grade-level standards, but we must also work diligently to ensure students make substantial gains in cognitive processing abilities in order to offset the negative effect presented by delays in school readiness. And that's all I have. Are there any questions?
I have a question you probably don't know the answer to it, and you may. But my question is, we talk about poverty and kids in poverty conditions, and it's a known fact that some students do excel. Has there been any studies to determine why some who are in poverty do better than others?
There are studies out there, and I could pull together some research and share that with you. But just looking at the data, broad spectrum, looking at our students, our teachers and our school administrators are able to offset a great deal of that from kindergarten to second grade.
Okay.
So we are very appreciative of that, and we know that there is work to be done, but we are very confident that our people have the ability to offset any of those negative effects.
And it's real important too, just that we also have to keep in mind that coming to school is not just about math and science and social studies. It's also about brain development and cognition and the development of the brain and stretching and growing the brain. So, for example, when you looked at the kindergarten slide, it shows to us that our students are coming in a bit behind in terms of their cognition. The good news is that with the right strategies, those children will catch up they can catch up very rapidly. And once the brain is developed and it is then prepared to receive reading and math, then the deficits and gaps will close very quickly. So we're looking more closely at how to parallel cognitive development with academic instruction as well, instead of one or the other, a combination of both of those pieces. And the reports that are generated give some really great strategies on how do you develop long-term memory and short-term memory, how do you strengthen the reading receptors in your brain. Recent data shows that we used to think that the brain, part of the brain that controlled reading was just a one small part, when it's actually the whole brain. Every part of the brain has an impact on how well you learn to read and how quickly you do. So it's really critical that we work on cognitive development.
Yes.
In responding to Mr. Turner's
Yes.
question, you said kindergarten through second grade.
Mm-hmm.
Why is there a limit on second grade? You seem to
We,
stop there. What about downstream?
We only administer CogAT to students in kindergarten and second grade at this time. And so hopefully in the future, we will be able to administer it in grades 4 and 6.
What's preventing that to do that now?
We have to look at the budgeted funds that we have available, things along that line.
You also have to balance testing as well. I mean, we don't want to over-test kids. And kids in grades K and 2 are not assessed at the state level. So you're not over-testing them, where students in grades 4 and 6 will not only have to participate in the Iowa and then the CogAT, and then in our case, we always get selected to participate in the NAEP assessments as well, and then again in the Georgia Milestones. So just try to be real sensitive to over-testing kids.
Well, I'm glad to hear you. I'm not a fan of over-testing.
Yes.
Believe me. But I'd like to see that we are monitoring the progression of the students through there. And you implied to me that there are budget constraints as to why we are not testing.
Well,
And
the test can be very expensive. So.
Well, and I hope that we can use our IE square selection to eliminate unnecessary testing, and I don't know what that is, so that we can subscribe to
Yes.
the hour to help us do what we got to do.
Yes.
It would be fantastic if we could not administer the Georgia Milestones, and that there would be some flexibility for us to do a longitudinal model that we have in place that is pre-post, that takes into consideration the connection between cognition and the results that we're getting in the Iowa. I think our kids are better served that way. I think you have a better look at our kids, and I also think you have a national comparison. So we're not just looking how our kids compare in Georgia, you're looking across the nation. And so if we could wave the wand.
Well, maybe I'm lacking an understanding. I thought by going to the IE square schools that we had flexibility, and that's what I'm trying to push. If we have to use, quote unquote, our authority to eliminate the unnecessary testing, we should exercise that choice.
Unfortunately, the accountability model for the state requires our participation in the Georgia milestones. As such, it is against the law to not participate because, as you might recall, last year I sent a letter requesting that we not participate in. And I will say this, though. After we were turned down, the state has begun to look at different flexibility options. And I have been invited to participate on one of their committees in terms of looking at how we can achieve the goal of an accountability index for the state, but look at similar different models. To get also what you're talking about, Mr. Johnson, one of the things that we have in our district that no other district has is a correlation study between the Georgia milestones and the Iowa assessments, which allows for us to make a reasonable comparison between the two results. So, as I've said before, I would be happy to not participate in the milestones and in favor of a model that allows for us to assess the kids as they sit in our classrooms, teach them, and then assess them at the end to see how much they've grown. Unfortunately, I cannot convince everybody else just yet. But we're still working on it.
We're getting closer, right?
We're getting closer. We're working hard on
Thank
it.
you very much.
Thank you.
Well, I'd like to commend Ms. Fiore and your staff and the teachers and everybody who has made great progress in the development of our students, and regardless of the strengths that you've been getting handed down by the state. And I just want to let you know that I appreciate it very, very much.
Thank
Here,
you.
here. I do have a question if I'm
Sure.
On the CogAT, I noticed when it got to the profile, the online profile, it looked like that was written by an algebra teacher, like the equation. And I just want to, and I'm sure you already have things in place, but I'd love to hear you say, you don't have to be a computer programmer to understand this. And we've minimized all the obstacles for parents who do want to help their kid with extra resources or whatever it is, that they don't have to overcome that obstacle of figuring out that equation or punching in the right thing on a computer even. Can we hand them printouts? Are we
Yes.
able to? Okay.
You can hand them a printout. It will have the numbers and the codes listed there. You just plug those in the drop-down box. You only have a few items to select from. And then as soon as you enter those from the score report, you click View Results. It generates that report. The report is very easy to read. The teachers can walk through the report with the parents. And then there are additional suggestions at the bottom of the report for what parents can do at home.
Okay. I guess my question, though, is first, there's a maybe a misconception that those coming from a lower income, the parents don't want to be involved in the teaching of the child, when that's not always the case.
That is
So
correct.
for those in lower income who may not have access to the internet at home, are we able to do
Yes.
that at school with a parent who wants to
Yes.
help? Okay.
Yes,
That's
we
what
are
I
Send the
able to do
reports
that.
home.
mean. Awesome. Thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions? Thank you very much. We have no old business. We'll go to new business. Item B.
Good evening.
Good evening.
In item B, the superintendent recommends the renewal of the excess workers' compensation insurance coverage provided by the Safety National Casualty Corporation. The policy period will be December 1, 2017 to December 1, 2018. As background, excess workers' compensation insurance is a policy written to indemnify the self-insured employer for workers' compensation claims exceeding a certain dollar amount, which in this case is $650,000. The total cost of the coverage premium is $143,423, and this cost will be paid for with budgeted FY18 general funds. That is item B for your consideration.
Thank you. We heard the report on item B. Can I get a motion to approve item B, please?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Coggins, second by Ms. Baker. Any discussions or concerns? Having none, all in favor, aye? Aye. All opposed, same. Motion carries. Item C.
In item C, the superintendent recommends the annual renewable contract for fleet inspection services for the Pupil Transportation Department awarded to Morgan Fleet Services, Incorporated of Monroe, Georgia, be awarded for an additional term. The effective date will be November 16, 2017, and the expiration date will be November 15, 2018. The vendor has performed satisfactorily, met all contract requirements, and has agreed to continue the service at the original contract price. The pricing per unit is $55. The estimated contract value is $103,950. This cost will be paid for with budgeted FY18 general funds. That is item C, Mr. Chairman.
Y'all heard the presentation on item C. Can I get a motion to approve item C, please?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bailey, second by Ms. Baker. Any questions or concerns? Having none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item D.
In item D, the superintendent recommends the identified items be declared surplus and disposed of per board policy. That is item D.
Could I get a motion to approve item D, please?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Coggins. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Johnson. Any questions or concerns? Having none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carries. Item E.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board.
Good evening.
Item E for your consideration tonight, the superintendent recommends the approval of the request for use of school facilities by the Newton County Recreation Commission. The Newton County Recreation Commission has requested to use certain school system facilities. They are recognized as a school system partner and thereby exempt from paying fees for the use of facilities. The facility use applications include requests for both indoor and outdoor facilities. The use period begins November 27th, 2017 and ends November 30th, 2018. Principals at each of the schools listed have approved the requests, and the following chart outlines all the facilities and spaces to be used.
Okay, I need a motion to approve item E, please.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bailey. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Johnson. Any questions or concerns? Having none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item F.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
The superintendent recommends the laptop computers and support equipment needed for the school system be purchased from Dell Marketing LP of Round Rock, Texas. The technology department has recognized the need to replace outdated computers utilized by teachers throughout the school system. The replacement equipment includes laptops and docking stations. The school system will utilize the state contract to procure the equipment. The items and their associated costs are represented in the chart below, thus bringing the total cost to $840,750. This cost will be paid for with budgeted capital funds. Additional documentation is on file and available for review.
Can I get a motion to approve item F?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bailey. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Coggins. Any concerns or questions?
Got a question, sir.
Sure, go ahead.
I see the quantity that's $950, and it's for the teachers. I'm under the impression that number is higher. Should we be around 1,300?
Oh, this isn't for all teachers. We currently have teachers who have received laptops within the past 2 years that are current and they will not need to be refreshed currently.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite get that. So we got teachers who have computers that are not ready for replacement.
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions? Having none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carries. Item G.
Good evening.
Good
The
evening.
superintendent recommends the approval of the attached agreement between Newton County School System and eLuma Online Therapy to provide teletherapy speech services to students with disabilities in accordance with their IEPs for the 17-18 school year. eLuma provides teletherapy services through a live and online platform and management system. The use of telepractice does not remove any existing responsibilities in delivering services, including adherence to the various codes of ethics, scope of practice, state and federal laws, as well as policy documents on professional practices. Therefore, the quality of services delivered via telepractice must be consistent with the quality of services delivered face-to-face. The contractual agreement with eLuma is attached.
Thank you. Can I go a motion to approve item G?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Coggins, second by Ms. Baker. Any questions or concerns? Having none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item H.
Item H, inclement weather calendar adjustment. The superintendent recommends that students not be required to make up 2 days of instructional time lost due to inclement weather caused by Hurricane Irma, September 11th and September 12th, 2017. The superintendent recommends further that the 2017-18 school calendar be adjusted to reflect that students make up September 13th and September 14th by attending school for the full instructional day on February 2nd, 2018, and March 16th, 2018, both of which are early release days on the 2017-18 school calendar. Due to the impact of Hurricane Irma in Newton County, the school system remained closed for 4 days, September 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th. As a strategic waiver school system, the school system has waived the state board rule which governs inclement weather and makeup days. As such, the school board has the decision-making authority to determine when or if school days should be made up. Reducing the amount of time students spend actively engaged in the learning process is never optimal. However, making up school days lost to inclement weather must restore meaningful instructional time rather than adding time for the sake of achieving a seat time requirement. This recommendation takes advantage of the school system waiver by waiving 2 of the missed instructional days and making up instructional time during a period when both employees and students are already in school. Converting the early release days on February 2nd and March 16th, 2018 to regular school days restores instructional time in a way that is least disruptive to students, families, and employees. The midwinter break days remain designated as inclement weather makeup days should additional days be required for future inclement weather.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve item H?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bailey. Do I have a second?
Like it.
Second.
Second by Ms. Coggins. Any concerns or discussion?
I have a question. The early release days that we're taking, what are we going to do? Are we going to replace the early release to help our teachers? Or are we just going to say, wing it?
The teachers, everybody will already be in school, so they'll just carry on as they would normally carry on.
I'm talking about the function that the teacher would do under normal circumstances on early release days. When will they have time?
They will have time.
One was for a conference, for parent conferences, which many of them, I mean, I can speak from my experience, many of them don't use those days. They schedule them at night or at other times during the week. And the second day, March 16th, was for professional learning.
Yeah.
And we're able to build that professional learning back into our weekly schedule, so there's no loss at that point.
Thank you much.
I have discussion. I really just have a comment. So I understand that we're saying makeup days. I do like how you worded it better with convert those days.
Yes.
Because technically, they were already coming to school on those days.
Correct.
Anyway, so
Correct.
everybody's there. So it doesn't appear to be a makeup day. It just appears to be we're converting
That is
those
correct.
half a days or those early release days to a full day.
Right.
I just say that for clarity because somebody will say, well, I thought we weren't going to make it up. And technically, you're already
We were already there.
You're just converting.
We're converting.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, because somebody going to say, they are going to say that. It's just converting.
Any other discussion? Having none, can I get a motion to approve item H, please?
So move.
Motion by Mr. Johnson. Do I have a second?
I don't have a motion.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I think everybody's excited. Okay, having discussion. All in favor, aye? Aye. All opposed, same. Motion carries. Item I.
Item I, the superintendent recommends the approval of personnel recommendations made during executive session.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve item I, please?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Coggins. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Johnson. Any discussions or concerns? Having none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carries. Item J.
Good evening. The The superintendent recommends that the budget for FY18 be amended to include a 2% one-time pay adjustment in January for all employees in the approximate amount of $2.1 million and a permanent 1% 403B employer contribution increase for TRS employees in the amount of $775,000. Additionally, the superintendent recommends that the budget for FY18 be amended to include Teacher of the Year incentives at an approximate cost of $25,000, as well as $50,000 for an adjustment to bus driver field trip rates, and $315,000 for an adjustment to substitute teacher daily rates. Lastly, the superintendent recommends that the budget be amended to include the following one-time cost adjustments. Applicable expenses for additional curricular and instructional programming at $500,000 and applicable expenses for STEM initiatives at $106,000. Projections for the next 2 years, as illustrated in charts A through G, indicate that local revenues have not yet fully recovered to fiscal year 2009 levels. However, the tax digest improved at a larger rate than anticipated for the FY18 budget year. The improvement in the digest will allow the board to continue efforts to restore cuts made during the recession. Most of the cuts during the course of the recession have had to come from employee salary and benefits, and so it is appropriate to use these funds to begin first by restoring salary and benefits to employees. Also, in keeping with our plan for increased student achievement, it is necessary to offer additional curricular and instructional programming and STEM initiatives. Budget options follow this memo and are represented in charts A through G.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve item J?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Johnson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Coggins. Any discussions or concerns?
Yes. So I think it needs to be stated because one item is going to start different from the rest of them. So I think it has to be stated, the Teacher of the Year, it has to be stated when it's going to start because that's going to start separately from the rest of the items.
Correct.
So, and the way you read it is that it's all going to
Okay.
be.
Yes. So the Teacher of the Year incentive is going to start in December of 18, right? And what's that?
Just for the record back there and for clarity.
And we had, it was approximate 25, is what she said. We don't have a chart, do we?
I have some right here.
It doesn't say estimated, I don't know if that matters, but the Teacher of the Year, just says it's included at a cost of $25,000. I'm not sure if that was the exact number, does it matter?
It's fine.
Okay.
It'll be okay.
All right.
It's good.
All right.
It's okay. We're just setting aside the money now so that we can develop a plan.
Okay.
Any other questions or concerns? Having none, all in favor? Aye.
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 All opposed? Same. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, any, so what now?
She's one.
December 18 on this too.
We'll put it on there. Okay.
Okay, any other matters of interest, Ms. Coggins?
No, just, I hope everyone has a nice break next week and a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson?
Happy holiday.
Mr. Bailey?
Good.
Ms. Baker?
I
You got
don't
two.
have anything tonight. I promise y'all, I have nothing tonight except for ditto. You know, I promise y'all. You can hurry up and close it.
Again, wish you all to have a happy holiday, and at this time, Ms.
Just one little thing. I do want to make sure that for the record, everyone knows that we have begun an Educator Hall of Fame, and last night we had the great pleasure of inducting two magnificent former educators of the Newton County School System, Mr. and Mrs. Adams, Louise Adams and T.K. Adams, and I think we had a great ceremony, and Sherry Davis Vineyard is responsible for organizing that entire event, and it was fantastic last night, and we will be putting on the wall a permanent plaque that as each person is inducted into the Educator Hall of Fame, they'll have a tag that will go up that will list their name and the year in which they were inducted. So I think it's a great way to recognize our teachers and the educators who have served our community and our students for more than 20 years. So just to give a shout out to Sherry and to the whole team, because they really talked about the things that we would look at as criteria, and so they did a great job. Everybody's great program, I thought.
Good. All minds clear? I need a motion. You had something to say?
I do.
We got a motion.
No, I was just going to say, so before our next meeting, we had announced it last time, so we will have the GSBA conference, but that is when the superintendent of the year will take place. And so actually, I think we need to check and see if you guys want to come up to the luncheon, because you guys can actually come up to the luncheon to support who will be named the superintendent. I'm going to put it out there in the atmosphere. Yeah, that the Newton County superintendent, Samantha Fury, will be named superintendent of the year. So I guess we just need to kind of discuss among ourselves if you guys want to come to the luncheon.
Time and date.
We can do that after.
Yes, just keep time and date.
Time and date.
December 1st.
December 1st.
December 1st?
It's a Friday, I do believe.
It's a Friday.
And it's at 11:30.
Is it 11:30?
I think it starts at 11:30.
Where's it
Will
at?
y'all just send us an email with the time and date, and then we
We'll
can
do
get
that.
from there?
I don't know if that's doing public record, but.
Yeah, no. It'll be great to have everybody there. I think my mother and my husband are going to be there, and my child, so.
I'm going to try to, if I got some training, I'll try to see if I can get out of it. But anyway,
Spend some time.
so all in favor of joining, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carried. We stand adjourned.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes, ma'am.
I knew it was something I meant to tell you, and I'm glad you called right. I went to Chatsworth.